Thank you so much for taking the time to chat, Bobby. I loved the episodes. It was so much fun. I'm very
Thank you so
interested.
much, Jenna. Can we do another interview where I want just look at your room for a little while? It looks exactly like my office that I'm not in right now, and I'm jealous.
This isn't even all of it. There's some like all around every single wall of yeah,
I'm the
it could
same
take like
way.
half an
I'm the
hour.
same way.
Well, so how did it feel just to start things off, playing a character who is so specific and notorious within the Star Wars fandom, but who's also kind of something of a blank slate at the same time?
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, like it's pretty unique to get handed something that's been around forever but never been done before. Kind of like it was super fun, and to kind of learn more about him and to get to be a part of that. Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so the fact that I'm Jedi Bob, I get to be little Jedi Bob. I'm so happy.
Were there any specific references that you used in kind of finding Bob's voice? Because there's a gravitas to him that is very, very surprising to kind of see.
I I tried to do like Qui-Gon ish, like he's a little got a little Obi-Wan Kenobi, a little Qui-Gon, but a lot of Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon, where sometimes he's just over it real quickly and drops the fancy. He's acting like a fancy Jedi, but he's just Jedi Bob.
I love it. So, as a huge Star Wars fan, were there any fan theories or the alternate iterations of things that you were really excited to see realized in these episodes?
Of course, I mean Darth Jar Jar alone is amazing. I really love what they did with Darth Maul. I kind of love like just the opposite of Darth Maul is just like he's a gentleman. He's just like a fancy, nice man with good clothing. Like it just made me giggle. But Mark Hamill as Beach Luke is my favorite thing in the world. I'm gonna ask my wife to just take the clip of us at the cantina with Beach Luke and just put it in my casket with me.
Good. That's a good
Just on a
decision.
loop, yeah, just please.
Just play a video screen on your tombstone. That's
Right
awesome.
on the top so I can sleep peacefully.
I love that. So, obviously, this isn't your first foray into the Star Wars universe. How did this experience differ from working on those other projects, working on Resistance and all of that? And all of that.
It's different. Resistance was great. Resistance was my first love. Orca, I love his little belly. I miss Orca. Uh, and then like yeah, a couple like little like a stormtrooper here. I was in the Bad Batch. I was like a traitor. I think like I've been in a couple, but this one feels like oh my gosh, like I got to create a character in the Star Wars universe. I was saying in the last interview, like I built my Jedi Starfighter last night or the other night. Like it's as a fan and as someone who worked hard to get to this point, it today's a great day.
So,
Yeah.
what would you say surprised you the most about the experience of working in this role and on these episodes?
Um oh God, I feel like I'm gonna say something super cocky. I feel like what I'm gonna say is that years of pretending and playing Star Wars made me realize like I'm pretty good at like Star Wars acting. Like like I enjoy Star Wars acting. I really want to do live action Star Wars. I really want to play some sort of alien creature who you can't see my face, a slug of
I,
some kind.
I love that. We need to make that happen. I Because I
Yeah,
was going to ask like what kind of character you would want to play, but that's the perfect
I
answer.
I mean my dream is live action Orca. I'm me in a full size Orca costume shrunk down. That's my dream.
I love it. What are you most excited to see fans react to and respond to once all of these episodes are out?
I mean, honestly, just that's one of the parts of Star Wars is the community and is the like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Like it was like it's fun and this is giving fans exactly what they want, which is everything they're used to in a completely different way. And in my opinion, this is Bobby Moynihan saying this, the funniest thing Star Wars has ever done. I mean, like it's really hard to do Star Wars comedy, and Dan and Benji are true fans of both Lego and Star Wars, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park, in my
So,
opinion.
being from comic book, I do have to ask. I know you've written comics in the past. Would you be interested in continuing Bob's story and kind of shepherding it in the comics if you were given the opportunity to do that?
Yeah, I would continue Bob's story on TikTok, online at the grocery store, anywhere they will allow me. I would. I mean, like Disney Plus Bob series is a dream. It's just like let's see him from Padawan to Jedi. But yeah, are you kidding? Yeah, I would love to. I keep thinking about this and you tell me, if Jedi Bob goes live action, do I still only have do I have just yellow like crab claws?
It'd be funny. That would be a good touch.
I think I do. I think I have yellow hands, like hands that look like that.
I love it.
I'm human.
For my last question, between SNL and Comedy Bang Bang, which I'm a massive fan of, you played a lot of iconic characters. Which of them do you think would fare the best in the Lego Star Wars space?
Forval easily. He's the most equipped to survive in any situation.
Perfect answer. Well, thank you, Bobby, so much for taking the time to talk. And again, congrats on the episode. This has been utterly delightful. They're so much fun to watch. Thank you all so much for taking the time to chat. The episodes are so much fun. Welcome to the Star Wars universe, first and foremost. How does it feel to kind of be putting, for all three of you, how does it feel to be kind of putting your own stamps on characters in such a big galaxy?
Oh, I mean, no, it feels so surreal. I know Star Wars is such a humongous franchise, and they have made such an impact in not only the world, but just in people's homes, and you know, like a bunch of obsessions over it. And I am just immensely grateful just to even play a character that is so confident in herself and independent and is always looking out for adventure. And just seeing her little Lego that I've seen visuals of her and how beautiful she is. And even though she is a Lego, she also is, I know she will just inspire just young girls, especially young Black girls, to just do their thing and just reach for the stars just like she does. And just having a little character like her be a part of this massive universe is such a blessing.
I just want to take that second and
I love it. So
yeah, your answer is way better than anything I could do.
Well,
here's my answer. Like, my stamp is having, I've always wanted, because I'm a nerd, I've always wanted my own lightsaber, and I've always wanted my own Harry Potter wand, right?
Perfect.
I have one now. It's great.
Good.
That's what I want.
That's good. I think Tony and Marsai had a harder job than I did, because thankfully Sig is just me. And like, that's the easy, like, when I put my stamp on the Star Wars universe, like, they're like, hey, do you want to play yourself? Do you want to play a Star Wars nerd in a Star Wars show? I was like, yeah, 100, yeah, full blown. Like, the amount of times I've sat in groups of people and just like made them like nod off from like going into the expanded universe of Star Wars, and we're like, okay, great, yeah, this isn't much of a reach.
I love it. Well, so for Gaten and for Tony, how did you approach finding your brotherly dynamic? Because it definitely shines, even though you are in animation and you are Lego figures.
Well, that's cool to know, because we didn't get to work together
at all.
At all.
I think there was one moment where, you know, the recording studio's around the corner from my house, and they were like, Tony, would you be willing to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning to do a Zoom collab session with Gaten? And I went, absolutely, let me know when. And they never did. And I was like,
I'm on the other coast. I live in New York City, and like I was in a show at the time. Doing something in the theater, and so I had to do mornings in New York, and they were so gracious enough out in LA to like get up at like 5 a.m. to do these sessions, which was so kind of them, and I still feel so guilty about making them do that.
But
as someone who's not a morning person, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So for Marsai, you mentioned it a little bit. How does it feel to not only join a legacy of strong women in the Star Wars universe, but to kind of cross paths with so many of them in these episodes as well?
Yeah. Also, just like Tony and Gaten, none of us were together. Like, we were just in the studio. I get your pain, Gaten. I was bi-coastal from LA and Atlanta, but mainly in Atlanta.
I'm in Atlanta right now too.
Yeah, so doing all of that and them having to wake up super early was insane. Yeah. But and also Africa, I had to do something in Africa because I had to film. I had to film a movie in Cape Town. So the accommodations that it was so cool working with this team. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the series and even reading through the scripts and the scenes that I have with these amazing, strong women and princesses and royalty in their own way is actually amazing. And with my little voice, it's really an amazing feeling. And also just Yessie and her character in its own, like she knows that she can lead, but just like other girls out there, they really don't know where that opportunity lands for them, and they don't know until they get the opportunity. So for her and her whole transition, going from only a dream to now finding her true form of being a leader in her own way, it's really dope. And having the amazing women along the way help her is it was so cool to do, and just a little studio with my sweats on and just expressing that with my voice. Like it was amazing. Couldn't ask for anything better.
So for all three of you as Star Wars fans, were there any character subversions or fan theories that you were really excited to see realized in the special? I know the Darth Jar-Jar and like what was your favorite?
Darth Jar-Jar was my favorite. That one so much.
Yeah.
There's a couple others that are really, really good, but I tip my hat to them for that. I remember reading the first.
That is crazy. I can't believe they got Lucasfilm said yes to that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Incredible.
Yeah, I'll go with Darth Jar-Jar so someone else can pick something.
I think weirdly enough, it's not one that gets a whole lot of screen time, but I think the created love triangle of Han, Leia, and Greedo is wonderful. Because I just also just like it's so funny because in this one, Greedo shot his shot first.
Yeah.
He's just shooting a shot and he shot first. And it worked. And it's friggin' great.
Marsai, did you have a favorite?
I actually don't, because I was saying in our last interview that I actually came in as like a new Star Wars fan, because I do have the lightsabers and I have been on like the Disneyland rides and such, but I am still learning this new world that is so loved by so many people. So, but yeah, when Dan was explaining to me like from each scene and each point of view and just like what the difference is between now this series and then the movies beforehand, it's kind of like opposite day, honestly. Like, so I feel like everyone is going to be genuinely surprised when they see these new connections that they have known to be so different in these other worlds. Is I think that's going to be the most surprising thing for them for sure.
I love that. And for my last question, just very quickly, it seems like there's definitely room at the end of these episodes for more for your characters without getting into spoilers. Would you want to return either for a season 2 or to play the character in live action?
Yep, I'm here. I'm locked in. Whatever they need.
I would love
I'm here to stay.
I'm here to stay. Please.
But also live action. Come on.
Yeah, why not?
Hey,
They've been able to do crossovers like these. It would be a leap and a half, but like, you know how they do animated episodes of live action shows?
Yes.
What if we flip that on its head and do a live action episode of an animated show?
Hey, speak
Guys,
It's
crazy. We could do it though.
Thank you both so much for taking the time to talk with me. The episodes are so much fun. I had so much fun watching them. I can't wait for everyone to see them.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And we go way back with comic books, so we are very happy to talk to you.
Awesome. So I have to start with arguably the most important question. How does it feel to finally help canonize Darth Jar-Jar?
I mean, it's a dream come true. No, I mean, it's Lego Star Wars is I don't know if it's fully canon, but it's canon adjacent at the very least. And that was one of those things where very early on in these discussions about what this show was going to be, like we knew we wanted to rebuild the galaxy, mash things up, and it felt like the perfect opportunity to do Darth Jar-Jar. That was like one of the first ideas we had, where we were just sort of like, hey, maybe do you think we could try this thing? And to everyone at Lucasfilm and Lego's credit, like they just said yes, like everyone was game for exactly what we wanted to do here. And yeah, it's wild that this thing that I can think back to, like us before we had any success, just hanging out, eating junk food and theorizing about Darth Jar-Jar, and now to say that we made it happen is pretty wild.
I love that. So kind of going off of that, whose idea was it to bring in Jedi Bob? Because that is such a cool and delightful part of also remixing the guns.
That was, just like Darth Jar-Jar was an early idea, that was another early idea. I'm a huge Lego nerd. Like I like Lego and Star Wars individually are like my two great loves going back to childhood. And so, being able to do this with them both together has really been a dream come true. But yeah, early on, I was like, oh, well, if we're doing this like amazing celebration of all things Lego Star Wars for the 25th anniversary, you know who the Jedi Master should be. It should be Jedi Bob. And that was met with a lot of who? Because, that's some people know, but it's a deep cut. It's definitely a deep cut. And, once again, to everyone's credit, they were like, yes, that sounds awesome. Like it's really been rewarding to see the longtime Lego Star Wars fans get so excited that Jedi Bob is back.
I love it. So Beach Luke is also definitely a huge highlight of these episodes. For both of you, what was it like working with Mark Hamill in such an unexpected context?
I think the phrase dream come true gets thrown around a lot, but in this case, it actually was a dream come true. The idea that we could write for Mark playing Luke Skywalker seemed like an impossible thing. And then suddenly it was happening. And he was saying to us, part of the reason he was really excited about this is that he read our script and he thought that we really understood Star Wars, which was about the greatest compliment that we've ever had in our career and something that I carry with me to this day. I had a bad day at home and I'm like, well, Mark Hamill liked our Star Wars script. So, but Mark, in my opinion, is, if not the greatest voice actor of all time, then certainly in the Mount Rushmore of that. I mean, that's even independent of his work as Luke. And so to bring him in as Luke, but a different version of Luke, a more off-kilter version of Luke, I think that was something that was really exciting to Mark, something that he hadn't done before, something that was a new flavor, a nuance that we hadn't seen. And so I think that for all of us, it was a process of discovery, of saying it's Luke, but it's not the Luke that we know. And what does that mean? How does he speak? How does he behave? Is he as ethical as the other Luke? Maybe not. But does he still have the spark of heroism inside of him? And we felt absolutely yes. And so that was the genesis of Beach Luke and how his character develops over the course of the special. And Mark was perfect.
I love that. I would also carry Mark Hamill complimenting me for like the rest of my life. So I totally understand. Were there any fan theories or alternate iterations of things that ultimately didn't make the final cut that might have been a little too obscure to become a reality?
I don't think anything was cut because of obscurity or strangeness. It was really just cutting things for time when we had to. Like there was definitely like a lot more. I mean, yeah, I'm sure like there's a lot of amazing characters that we did not get to squeeze into this. And, it's our initial drafts were just way too long because there was just there's so many great Star Wars characters and ships and worlds and creatures. And at first we want to just do everything. Let's mash up everything. And we had to be a little more selective, but it was never there was never anyone telling us we can't do this or we should avoid that. Everyone was on board with as weird and deep cut as we wanted to get. Yeah.
It basically was like, how much can we get into 22 minutes per episode, and sometimes we did have to make tough cuts of things that were really great or really funny or would have looked really awesome. But ultimately we had to really whittle down to what was truly essential and what was truly the A+ material.
That's fascinating. So what are you both most excited to see fans react to once these episodes are out?
I think the thing that I am most excited about and hopeful about is, yes, this is a Lego Star Wars show. Yes, we are having a lot of fun. We're making a lot of jokes. There's funny references and sort of Easter eggs for people. But I hope people will see that the underpinnings of it are a really emotional Star Wars adventure that we didn't really write it any differently than we would have if it had been $200 million live action blockbuster. We really said, let's write the Star Wars story that we've always wanted to write. And I hope that I hope that resonates with people, that you almost at a certain point go, I'm so invested in this story and I kind of didn't expect that. And I think that was one of the wonderful things about the performances of Gaten Matarazzo and Tony Revolori as these brothers who go through a lot of iterations of their relationship. And by the fourth episode, you're fully just in a Star Wars movie, or sorry, adventure, I should say. And I think that was really meaningful to us, and I hope that that's something that resonates with everyone.
I will say it definitely resonated with me. I was very emotionally affected by the time it all was said and done. Thank you both so much for taking the time to talk. And again, congrats on the episodes. They're so much fun, and I cannot wait for everyone to see them.